There's also the idea that being an older single woman is somehow my fault. When I was 20, I was the one picking others. Now that I'm 30, others are picking me, and I've become an older leftover woman. It's like karma. Now people don't even bother to look at me.
I feel so overwhelmed that these past couple of days it seems like all the bad things are happening to me at once. I really wish there was someone who could share some of these burdens with me. But I really think I might never find a partner in this lifetime. I really feel so helpless. If I don't get married soon, either my mom will go crazy or I will. Now, whenever my mom sees anyone, she tries to set me up, always saying I'm a guy, that I'm still not married, and that it's hard for me to find someone. But right now, I'm especially afraid of being introduced to people, because at my age, not being married, well, you can imagine, people definitely have opinions about me, they label me, and have preconceived notions. They'll just think I'm too picky, and that's the label they put on me, picky. So right now, I'm especially afraid of people trying to set me up, but my mom is just obsessed with having others introduce me to someone. These days, my mom feels embarrassed to talk to me about it directly, so she gets our relatives and friends to add me on social media. Even some distant relatives I barely know will add me and say, I'm here on behalf of your mom to try to persuade you. You know, being older and still single is pretty pitiful. After saying all that to me, they'll then suggest, hey, I know someone who might be a good match for you. Let me introduce you. And I feel awkward turning them down. Honestly, I really don't want to deal with any of this. I feel like if my mom keeps pushing me like this, I might actually end up rushing into marriage. I really can't take it anymore. I'll just get married in a hurry. And then there are so many men who say that older single women are just too picky.
They say that older single women are gold diggers. I want to break this down for everyone. Do you really think that just because a woman is older and single, she must be a gold digger? What does being unmarried at an older age have to do with being a gold digger anyway? Nowadays, so many women are getting deceived. So does that mean I can also say that older single men are gold diggers too? Snap! What do you all think? Haka, if you define older single women as gold diggers, then can I also say that older single men are gold diggers? In reality, there are actually plenty of gold digging men out there. I've been taken advantage of by men before too. So why am I still unmarried? Why haven't I gotten married yet? I think a big part of the reason is because of men. If they hadn't tried to take advantage of me or hurt me, how could it be that I'm still single now? I really have developed a kind of fear, even a phobia, toward men. Some men just want to take advantage of you. It's like they want to climb up by stepping on your shoulders, but they never admit it. They just pretend and put on an act. Right? That's how I feel. People should have some boundaries. Don't be like that, okay? Don't think that just because I have a gentle personality and I'm easygoing, you can just take advantage of me. Are you just going to ride over me like that? Isn't there a saying, a kind person gets taken advantage of, a good horse gets ridden? So does that mean I should also bravely stand up and oppose those opportunistic guys? Sometimes that's just my personality. I hope everyone can get along peacefully. But to be honest, if any guy tries to slander me again, in the future, let me tell you, there's no way I'll be as easygoing as I was before. You can say I have high standards, but you can't keep insulting me, attacking me, and hurting me every day. That's why I say, leave some room for each other, so we can meet again on good terms in the future.
I'm 33 years old this year, single and never married. And when it comes to finding a partner to get married or even just to date and not be single anymore, I feel like it's as hard for me now as it is for struggling students facing the college entrance exam. It's really extremely difficult to succeed. Tonight, I went out for a walk, and then I just stood alone by the river, staring at the scenery and spacing out. Because the place I went to is a popular spot on social media, there are especially many people walking by the river and enjoying the scenery at night. I actually like being in places with lots of people and then just zoning out by myself. While I was zoning out, I didn't notice when two guys came over and stood next to me. I had no idea when they arrived or how long they'd been there. Until suddenly, in the middle of my daydreaming, a voice snapped me out of it. One of the guys was calling out "Miss" several times. I don't know how many times he called, but when I finally heard him, I looked up in the direction of the voice. When I looked over, I saw the guy who was calling me holding up a cigarette, and then he asked me something. He said, "Miss, do you want a cigarette?" I shook my head at him, then turned away, and went back to zoning out. But the guy took a couple more steps toward me and said, "Come on, have one." He acted like we were really familiar with each other, so I immediately waved my hand to signal that I don't smoke. After just a few seconds, I walked away from that spot. The reason I left was because I felt I couldn't stay in a place. Well, I thought of it as a remote area, where a guy was trying to hit on me. That's always been my habit. I really resist strangers, and I really resist that kind of situation. People who approach me, I don't even know why I'm so guarded when someone greets me. Why am I so defensive about it? In real life, I really don't know if this mindset of mine is normal or not. Guys, do you recognize this kind of situation as someone trying to hit on you? And what do you all think? Do you think this kind of mindset is right or wrong? Then, on my way back, I kept reflecting and thinking about it. It seems that in my more than 30 years of life, I've never really had the ability to build friendships with strangers or even with people around me who aren't very close. It's like I just don't have that ability. I guess this must be one of the more serious issues people talk about with older single women, aside from age, which is actually the least of the problems. Anyway, I don't know if this state is pathological or just unhealthy.
Anyway, I've lacked this ability since I was a child, and I don't know why. Giving birth is free. Cooking is free. Throwing clothes in the washing machine is free. Taking care of the kids is still free. In this family, as long as there's work to be done, it's all free. Everything has to be labeled as free. What I really don't understand is when people say, if you get married, you still have to cook, do laundry, and handle housework yourself. So what's the point of marriage for women? I want to ask, is it that if you don't get married, you don't have to cook, do laundry, or do housework? Why does it suddenly become unacceptable once you're married? Basically, you're not supposed to touch anything. Once you're married, you're expected to just lie there and do nothing. And if you so much as move a finger, you're a free maid. After all, the man spent $1 million or so on a house, car, and bride price just to marry a living goddess. You really have quite the imagination. If you want to be treated like a goddess, there's nothing wrong with that, but you should at least see if you're worthy of it.
I'm 32 years old now, and only now do I understand how cruel the dating scene can be for women. Last week, I went on a blind date. A guy invited me to a coffee shop, which was at his workplace, and it took me an hour to drive there. But after less than 10 minutes of meeting, he found an excuse to leave. Later, I took the initiative to message him, and he replied, saying he still couldn't accept someone over 30. This is a woman looking for a partner, sharing her own personal experience, and she realized that after turning 30, you keep lowering your standards for a partner, even taking the initiative to chat with guys and ask them out. But still, many men reject you outright just because of your age. At first, it seemed like feminism was hurting men's interests, but later men realized that feminism was actually helping them.
This war was started by feminism, but the strange thing is that men have no intention of stopping. Men only want to accelerate the punches thrown by feminism. Men have already given up on public opinion, have shed their sense of responsibility, have learned to spend money on themselves, and have learned to vote with their feet. Men have also learned to care only about themselves, to love only themselves. In another 20 years, it will be an era where economic strength is all that matters.
I am a woman, but to be fair, men are generally kinder than women. Men usually do more for their in-laws than women do for their husband's parents, There are rarely conflicts between men and their in-laws, but conflicts between mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law have always been a difficult problem throughout history. Men are better at distinguishing right from wrong. Women often create a lot of drama, while men can look at issues from multiple perspectives. Men can see the shortcomings of others, but they can also recognize their own shortcomings. Women, on the other hand, often view problems from a single perspective. He only looks at things from his own perspective. Women often feel wronged and complain, not necessarily because he has given a lot, but because he only considers himself and is not kind enough.
After men turn 30, their interest in women fades, but women in their 30s are still waiting for men to pursue them. Doesn't that sound a bit ironic? In fact, the period when men's feelings are the strongest is between 18 and 25 years old. After 25, the allure of love and women starts to diminish for them, because work and life pressures take up most of their energy. With the time they have left, they'd rather please themselves and do things they enjoy. That's why you'll notice that the older men get, the more hobbies they have. Fishing, drinking tea, collecting stones, playing with bracelets. All of these are more interesting than relationships. So many men say they lost interest in women. Since they stopped dating, their careers advanced, they made more friends, their wallets grew, their health improved, and their cigarettes and alcohol improved. Thoughts?
Damn. When a married couple gets divorced, the most heartbreaking thing is that if the child stays with the father's mother, all that's needed is financial support. But how many women are actually able to pay that child support? And how many men actually go after women for that money? What are men thinking? Oh, men are all thinking, you've already left us anyway. Whether or not you pay child support doesn't really matter. Without your financial support, my son and I can still get by, can't we? But if the child is with the mother, remember this. Men, you can pay early, but never late. You can pay more, but never less. If you don't pay, just try it and see what happens. That woman will go everywhere talking about you, telling everyone, and even come to your family to demand it. And make a scene. She'll think, damn, my decision back then was right. Leaving him was the right choice. He can't even support his own child. That's it.
This is the difference between men and women.
We have all created the hardships in our lives. I shouldn't have spent half my life with no way out, even if I lower my head. So why are so many older single women starting to feel anxious? Let me share a real-life case with you.
There's a woman born in 1985. Before she saw me, she said she never planned on getting married. She owns her own house and car, makes tens of thousands a month, doesn't have to raise children, and has no family chores. She can go wherever she wants. She felt being single was truly wonderful. So why did she suddenly decide to look for someone? She said that recently, after spending some time back in her hometown, she realized that even though she's not yet 40, her family was already making plans for her nephew, her older brother's son, to inherit her assets. Her nephew was quite mischievous. One day, he was playing in her room with her makeup, worth thousands, even tens of thousands, and smeared it everywhere. She couldn't help but scold him a bit. But her nephew replied, "Oh, it's just some makeup, isn't it?" My mother said, "When you are old, all your things will be mine, and your money will be mine too." He was completely stunned when he heard this. What surprised him even more was that his parents thought the same way. They said, "You're not getting married and you don't have your own kids. So all that money you're earning, since you can't spend it all yourself, who else would it be for if not your nephew?" So he finally understood. If he never gets married and never has children of his own,
then when he gets old, he might be picked clean with not even his bones left. Marriage is becoming the starting point for many men's assets to shrink. If you encounter either of these two types of marriages at the outset, you must be extremely cautious. First, debt-based marriage. When exorbitant bride prices and premarital property transfers become prerequisites for marriage, you may think you're showing utmost sincerity in love, but in reality, it could turn into an agreement to liquidate your assets. Keep in mind, although current laws do specify situations where the bride price can be refunded, but are you really aware of when the bride price doesn't need to be returned? If the couple has been married over 2 years and there's proof of living together, the court usually finds the bride price has become joint family expenses and doesn't need to be returned. It's hard to find a job with a net income of $150,000 or $200,000, but people still pay $288,000 or $388,000 in bride price just to get married. When a heartbeat meets an abacus, be careful with your wealth. It won't disappear, it will only be transferred. The second type is a PUA-style marriage with a temporary increase in the bride price. My parents have had a hard time raising me, so what's wrong with asking for a bit more bride price? Other people get diamond rings when they get married, so I want one too. Behind these seemingly reasonable requests is nothing more than a test of obedience, probing you again and again, is she. If you hear things like this, you must be on guard. These tactics are trying to use moral coercion to force you to lower your standards. Once you fall into this trap, your future married life will be nothing short of a hunt and strangulation, both mentally and financially. Have you encountered other bad marriages from the start? Share in the comments to help avoid these pitfalls.
As a woman, I actually feel sorry for men these days. For men now, getting married is harder than reaching the sky. The moment they bring it up, the bride price has to be at least 188,000 yuan. And that's just the beginning. Then comes the demand for a fully paid house. And after finally buying it, the woman's name has to be added to the deed. On top of that, they have to buy a car outright. Men might hope that after marriage, husband and wife will love and support each other. But in reality, the wife doesn't cook and barely takes care of the kids. If she's in a good mood, she'll stay with you. If she's in a bad mood, she'll immediately go back to her parents' house. When it comes to divorce, people used to say it was like facing a fierce demon. But now, even the bride in her wedding dress seems like a former bandit. So what are men really getting out of this? Is getting married just digging a huge pit for themselves?
Do you agree with my point of view? If you do, give me a like, and let's discuss it together in the comments. Brothers, have you noticed that capital is already starting to abandon women? Those girls who rely on men's wallets to get by, let me tell you, it's already getting harder and harder for them. Sooner or later, they'll end up starving. Do you get it? No job, nothing to their name, yet they're living the good life every day, eating well, drinking well, but if you ask them where their money comes from, right? In the past, capital used the guise of love to exploit men, but I'm telling you, that's a thing of the past now, understand? And to put it a bit more bluntly, a lot of girls before honestly were pretty immature and not that great. What do I mean by that? They'd live off men, bite the hand that feeds them, and still look down on men, isn't that right? Wasn't there a case before? A guy treated a girl to a meal, and she ended up filming a video and putting the guy online, right? Did you all hear about that? Isn't it just that simple? Why? You need to understand, after men go through enough of these experiences, I'm telling you, they wake up. Men's awareness is rising, and now with the pushback and resistance happening, I'm telling you, don't think I'm just making this up. Go see for yourself. In the real world, how many men are actually willing to spend a lot of money to pursue women? There aren't many. Why is our country's marriage rate getting lower and lower? This is the clearest and most fundamental reflection of that. Do you understand? Have you got it? It's just that simple. Do you get it now? I was thinking Now let's discuss further. Why has capital abandoned women as a useless pawn and started catering to men instead? Let me tell you, in recent years, with men and the expansion of information through Douyin, it has greatly accelerated the awakening of men's awareness. Everyone is starting to realize this. All right, I give everything I have to treat women well, but in the end, I get pued or even get sorry, but that's the reality. Some even look down on me. Sorry, but I'm going to spend all my money on myself. Got it? That's why in recent years, the market size for men's personal care products has been steadily increasing. Understand? It's about living for yourself, just figuring things out. Rather than spending money on women, it's better to invest it in yourself, to love yourself, understand? Otherwise, if you spend all your money on women, they'll still look down on you. That's the reality. So I'm asking you, is that true or not? Isn't that right? If you give a dog a bun, it'll still wag its tail at you. But if you give your money to a woman, come on, she might still look down on you and even think she deserves it. Am I right or not? I know what I'm saying sounds harsh, even divisive, and some women might not like to hear it, but this is the reality. Is it true or not? Yeah. Goodbye.